Hi Seals, welcome back. I've got my special guest again with me today, Bella. She'd like to sit with me. She's come to listen to the story again today. So we're on chapter 21 and they've just found out about the rules to do with book wandering. Okay, so time works differently in books. Oscar interrupted Seb's bookish reverie with a cough, bringing him back down to earth. Anyway, sorry, that's business. Tilly, do you want to have a go at reading yourself into the book? He flipped it open flat at a page that read, "Here is a toy shop." Tilly picked it up apprehensively. So I just read it, like normal. Hang on, how come I haven't accidentally read myself into a book before? Well, you might have felt the first stirrings of the ability before without knowing what you were feeling. Have you ever lost track of time because you were so involved in a book, or looked up and it's taken you a few seconds to realise where you are? When you stop being distracted by what's going on around you and you're reading without thinking about the process of reading, that's your brain and your heart starting to sync with the story. But you have to read with intent to book wander. You won't ever fall into a story by accident, even if you're still getting to grips with how it all works. We don't really know why different people's abilities kick in at different times. It often happens at about your age as you start really to develop your own individual relationship with books and find your favourites. There also seems to be a correlation with times of change or upset. We think it might be that while you're occupied with other things, it gives the magic inside you a chance to spill out. And once magic has revealed itself, it's very hard to ignore. Book wandering is naturally in you, Tilly. Don't worry about getting it wrong or right. The important thing is that you know it's possible because you've done it with Alice and Anne. So just focus on the story and read the line. And remember to keep hold of the book. What happens if I can't get back? I read the last line and nothing happens. What if I lose the book? Are you sure I should be doing this? None of that will occur, but I can pull you out if needs be. That copy of the book is tethered to the underlibrary, but it's also being registered as a training book, so its borders are more flexible and I can come and get you. There are lots of systems in the library. There are lots of systems the library has in place to allow us to find and help wanderers, but believe me, it won't come to that. Now, break a leg, as they say in the theatre. Tilly nodded and took a deep breath. She tried to cut off everything going around her and simply read. It took her a fraction of a second to read the simple sentence, but instantly that smoky sweet smell started to billow around her, and the walls of reality began to fold down on themselves. Instead of a fully realised world, all she could see was white. It was like standing in a room full of dense white fog. There were no sounds or smells, just white. Tilly started to panic and realised that she had no idea how to contact Seb if something went wrong. But at that moment, a silky red setter seemed to come from nowhere and bounded past her. She turned as the dog passed and saw that the toy shop from the book had sprung behind her. It had turquoise walls with big windows framed in yellow. The windows were stuffed full of all kinds of old-fashioned looking toys, dolls in frothy laces. Oh, you off, Bills? Bring it down. Give me 1 minute. Let me just pause this video. I think she smelt my dinner cooking. So anyway, dolls in frothy, lacy dresses, plastic cars, teddy bears, and even a rocking horse. The only thing to do seemed to be to follow the dog in through the open door. Inside, a woman in a purple shirt was behind the till, talking to a boy in an orange jumper holding a huge digger. A huge digger toy. A blonde girl in a pink turtleneck was pointing at a doll in a glass case, and the dog was snuffling at a toy dog in the corner. "Hello," Tilly said tentatively as she went in. Both children looked up at her, but the dog kept sniffing the toy dog. "Here is Peter," the girl said, pointing at the boy. "Here is Jane," the boy replied, pointing at the girl. "Nice to meet you. I'm Tilly," she said, giving an awkward half wave. "I like Peter," Jane said. "I like Jane," Peter said. "Great," Tilly said. "How come there's nothing outside the toy shop?" she asked. "Here's a toy shop," said Peter. "I like the toy shop," said Jane. "Sure, me too," said Tilly. "It's a nice toy shop. Is that your dog?" "Peter likes the dog," said Jane. "Jane likes the dog," said Peter. "Okay then," Tilly said. "I guess we all like the dog." The woman behind the counter didn't say anything. "Well, this is creepy," Tilly said under her breath. "Am I allowed to leave yet?" She flicked the book to the last page and read, "Here is Peter in the tree. Peter has the ball." There was a horrible moment when nothing appeared to happen before the toy shop dissolved around her and was replaced by the solid book-lined walls of the library. Seb gave her a big thumbs up and Oscar looked amazed. "You were only gone for like seconds," he said. "Time works differently in books," Seb explained. "You know how in books swaths of time just get missed out, a new chapter starts the next day or even the next week, and then you don't really know what's happened before then? Or the time it takes to describe something is even longer than how long it would actually take?" Oscar and Tilly nodded. "You'll be away from the real world for roughly how long it would take you to read the passage, even if it feels longer when you're inside. But it can be unpredictable, I'm afraid." Seb pushed the other book towards Oscar. "Okay, your turn. Do you feel comfortable having a go? Obviously, we're not quite so sure how your book wandering is going to manifest, but I feel happy enough that you have the core ability required because of your adventures in Avonlea. And, as I said to Tilly, this is a training book, and I can come and—" But Seb's reassurances were interrupted by a stern-looking librarian with a sharp goatee and wearing a black cardigan edged with silver emerging from the stairs. He looked at Tilly and Oscar with barely masked curiosity. "Sorry to interrupt, Sebastian, but could you come and assist with something that's arisen downstairs? A new book wanderer has got into a situation in Peter Pan, and we're hoping it's a simple administrative error, and you could pick up more efficiently than we can." Seb tutted but got to his feet. "It can't wait." "Ideally not," the librarian said. "He seems to have lost a lost boy." Seb sighed and returned to Tilly and Oscar. "You two need to stay here. Do you understand me? Do not move. I will return soon, or I'll find your granddad and he'll come and retrieve you." He turned and looked at them over the top of his glasses. "Stay here." Oscar and Tilly nodded as Seb followed the other librarian downstairs. They watched him over the banister as he joined a couple of librarians whose cardigans were also black and edged with silver. They were all walking briskly towards the circular main desk on the ground floor. The first one to reach it swung open a door in the side of the wooden chest of drawers and disappeared inside. "They're really into their fancy cardigans here, huh?" Oscar said. "What are we supposed to do while we wait? Should we go and find your granddad?" "Seb told us to stay here. If they need Amelia to help with whatever's going on, then I'm sure he'll come and find us." "I can't believe I didn't get a chance to book wander," Oscar said. "No offense, but I think they should have started with me, because they know you can do it, but I still don't know if I can do it without you." "Seb will be back soon and you'll get to have a go. That book wasn't fun visiting Avonlea anyway. It was weird and kind of dull." "Where would you most like to go once you're allowed?" she asked. "Hogwarts, obvious choice," Oscar said. "I want to go to the Yule Ball, or maybe watch the Dragontage from the Triwizard Tournament, or meet Luna." "But what if you run into Voldemort or Umbridge?" Tilly said. "And I don't think we'd be able to do magic. We'd be muggles." "Well, what about Middle-earth?" Oscar suggested. "Way too dangerous," Tilly said. "Orcs, trolls, giant spiders." She checked the various monstrosities off on her fingers. Fine, Oscar said. "Okay, how about Oxford and Northern Lights?" "I wouldn't want to run into the child snatchers," Tilly said. Why a book so dangerous?" Oscar said. "I guess a book about a nice safe place where nothing happens would be kind of boring, and no one would read it," Tilly said as Oscar wandered down this stretch of shelves looking at the spines of books. "A little bit of danger, though, is okay, surely," he said, holding up a book to show Tilly. "Treasure Island, are you sure? Isn't that all about pirates, and I don't know, death and betrayal and stuff?" Oscar scrunched his nose up. "Kind of. There are definitely pirates, but most of them are pretty friendly from what I remember. It was a while ago. I listened to the audiobook. We'll just make sure we read it a bit while there's nothing dangerous happening." He started flicking through the pages as Tilly tried to ignore the slightly sick feeling in her stomach. "Oscar, I'm not sure what this is," but she was cut off as Oscar cracked the spine, grabbed her hand, and started to read. Oh no. Oscar hasn't done a good thing. He's gone into the book, Treasure Island. We know there's pirates and things in those books, so lots of fighting most probably. And the next chapter is called An Incredibly Bad Idea. So I wonder what's going to happen. All right, enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye.